What's up, my guys? I know how much my followers love to talk about just how much I get around. So I figured I would use the experience to my benefit and talk about my opinion of things men do that just give me the ick. My biggest ick, so if you want to stop watching here, you totally can, is when a dude bursts in a song. Oh my god, it's so uncomfortable. And like when they try hard doing it, I dated this dude that took singing lessons once a week. It was so friggin' cringe. Like I was a better singer than this dude. Getting carded. Calling me sweetie, using emojis, or even worse, bitmojis, trying super hard to play with their nieces or nephews just to impress a girl, and those kids couldn't be less intrigued. Same with dogs. When they say, oh my god, dogs love me, and the dog just doesn't give a flying fuck. When their ears are shiny on the inside, counting calories. Him asking the salesperson where an item is when you're in Sephora. To put this in perspective, it's kind of like if you took me to a football game, and I asked the dude sitting next to us what the score was, using the wrong there, and there, and your, jeans that are too short, and nails that are too long.
Woman says why men should pay for the first date. So let's take a listen. And apparently this one has some funny comments, it seems, as well. So we'll jump into those after the video.
Alright boys, I'm sure this is going to be a highly contested video, but someone had to do it. Today, we're going to be discussing why men should pay for the first date. And yeah, I'm ready for the gold digger comments. Alright,
Okay. Anytime a girl says, I'm ready for the reason why dudes leave gold digger comments is because that's what you're painting yourself as. Or that's what you must be. Like, don't try and say this like, oh, just because I say these things, that's why I get labeled. No. The dudes that are coming into your comment section saying these things are not saying it willy-nilly or trying to say it to shame you. It's because that's the way you're behaving. So don't try and hide behind that bullcrap.
just because it's 2022, it doesn't mean that chivalry is dead. In my opinion...
Oh, yes, it does. Absolutely. Chivalry is long gone, man. Absolutely long gone. The only kind of chivalry that remains, really, is like the mind game chivalry where dudes will say that they care about you when their actions don't reflect that at all. You know, like you'll get dudes out here explaining, going through all like these little strategies and stuff like that, which truth be told, women made up in the first place. But the only kind of chivalry that still exists is the kind of chivalry where men are just straight up lying to you and selling you a dream. You're welcome, ladies. Like, that's literally what you asked for. You want those emotional highs and those roller coasters. Be prepared for the chivalry to come at the same time as him simultaneously not giving a crap about you, so you can't tell the difference. Let's wind that back and continue.
Men and women should not be looked at as equal, because they're simply not the same. On a human being level, yes. All humans possess the same value and deserve the same respect and opportunity. But two people in a relationship simply don't bring the same things to the table. And that is why men and women make a good partnership. We want what that other person brings to the table. It benefits us. We may not need it to survive, but if you're putting yourself out there in the dating world, we want it. And this may not be for everyone, but if you want a traditionalist relationship, women want a man who exhibits masculine traits, and men want a woman who exhibits feminine traits. From a woman's standpoint, I imagine men...
Can you guys tell me if it is a feminine thing to do to sit down and record rants of yourself on TikTok, being just generally obnoxious? Don't sit here and talk to me about femininity and masculinity when literally you're engaging in behaviors that personally I don't even consider to be anywhere close to feminine. Okay, and again, what exactly are you bringing to the table? Right, I hear a lot of I want, but I don't hear a lot about what these women seem to bring to the table other than themselves being just straight up a liability to a man.
Masculine traits, as opening the door, looking out for me, taking the initiative. And although I am fully capable of doing those things by myself, it makes me feel special when someone does those things for me.
Oh, no, but see, those things are patriarchal. We're not allowed to do those anymore, by the way. You're not our property. You are liberated, madam. Okay, you can go out here, you can be strong and successful, you can work, you can pay for your own bills and your own food because you are a strong and independent lady who doesn't need no man. And even the girls who will say, oh, well, I don't subscribe to that, I'm not a womanist. Well, maybe you should check your womanist peers around you because she's ruining it for the rest of you. But these women will never do that because they want the benefits from both sides.
Paying shouldn't be done with the intention of expecting something in return. It's a sign of appreciating someone's time and clearly identifies that this is a date. It doesn't mean you're expected to pay for everything thereafter, and also doesn't mean you should be paying for something beyond your budget. It simply sets the foundation of respect.
Yeah, I didn't know you had to show respect to people by paying for things for them simply because they're a woman, right? Like, I don't respect my friends and like give them money or like like I don't go out here with the idea of respect being that I have to open my wallet for people. You ever notice how when women like they make these arguments, if you sit down and you think for 2 seconds, they make absolutely no sense. But my question, of course, is okay, you want into a man's wallet, you want him to pay for things for you, you want him to pay for dates, be chivalrous, all that kind of crap. What exactly do women bring to the table in 2022? Like, really, are you gonna delete your Instagram? No, right? Half these girls in relationships, they're still on Tinder, still on Bumble, still posting very questionable photos of themselves to Instagram, you know, talking to dudes in the DMs, trying to claim plausible deniability. And you want to be wives, you want to be girlfriends, you want to be women who are courted and dated? Hell no. Guys, let's jump into some of these comments and see what some of the dudes have to say, because I'm pretty sure some of these might be quite funny. So let's take a listen to these. First one here from Leon says, can you make a video of what a woman brings to the table with 854 likes? Fantastic. This is what I like to see. Dudes actually starting to question some of the bullcrap that these girls have to say. Next person here, Nick, with a cat profile picture, says, it's always what women wants and not what men want. Yep. Yeah, sorry, not paying for a girl to take advantage of me. I'm not a simp. Man, these comments, like, I wish that every time we saw a video like this is what the comment section looked like, but unfortunately that's just not the case. A lot of the comments are like, wow, you go, queen, yeah, set your standards nice and high, and of course they just end up 40 and alone with cats, right? The thing is that about 75% of women just want all the benefits and none of the responsibilities and have nothing to bring to the table. Very true, says Samuel L. Jackson. Next individual says, yeah, pay for $100 meal, then never see them again. Oh, but don't you know, Mr. Joe Lambert, you're supposed to pay for these meals because you respect them. Isn't it interesting how women will demand respect and that you open your wallet, but then don't extend any form of respect in return? Kind of wild how that works. What happened to us being equal, says Cam. Loris here says, like 50 Cent said, whoever's idea was to go. So, of course, the first comment that's just stupid is it's like a woman in the comments saying Loris. So let me say this to Miss Loris here, who says, like 50 Cent said, whoever's idea was it to go on a date should pay. This is not true, okay? Because whenever I ask my friends out, not for a date, I don't pay for them. And if they ask me out, I don't expect them to pay for me. Like, if my friends say, hey, you want to get a group together and you want to go to the movies, I don't expect the person who invited me to pay. This is the kind of logic that makes absolutely no sense. Notice, guys, how all of these other comments, right, they make sense. The first one that doesn't make sense is from a woman named Loris, who is advocating for dudes to pay. Fantastic work, Loris. You're an intellectual genius. Next one, HDA says, this take is a disaster. Next person here says, so I pay you for the time you've spent with me. Words can't describe my pain when watching these videos. Yeah, we actually have another word for that, which I'm not really allowed to use on YouTube here. But if you're paying a girl for her date time, you might as well just pay for other services, if you catch my meaning, right? It's interesting how these women will literally turn themselves into objects and then complain when people treat them like objects. You just can't make it up. All right, but let's continue into the next clip here. We've got, this is our last one, I believe, and then we will jump into a magazine article. So let's take a listen.
Trigger warning to all of the sensitive men out there. Your ego might not be able to handle this one. This is what your dating app says about you. Tinder, you're in the military. You just arrived for basic training and you're trying to experience the social life. And if you're not in the military, you're just trying to solidify a hookup for the week.
It's always like just so magical, isn't it, guys? It's like it's so damn predictable that anytime women make a blanket statement about men, it's just they're talking about the men that they've seen, right? So if we were to take a look at this woman's dating history, I would probably say that she's been dating military men who fit the description that she just said, or dudes who are only interested in a hookup. Right, I've literally seen these girls go out here, man. They will complain about the stupidest things, but the reason why they're stupid is because they involve themselves in it. Okay, you don't want to get with dudes who are not just interested in a hookup. Maybe you should secure the commitment up front first. But of course, that never happens, right? Because, oh, one thing led to another, and you guys were just having fun, and then he didn't want to talk to you again. Maybe you should actually clue in and try and get the commitment first before you start going out here and just seeing every random dude. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an animated vampire. Let's continue.
Or day. However you want to look at it, I guess. You're also the type that needs a lot of validation. And if you're nearing 30 and still using Tinder, you're just impulsive and indecisive.
Wait, so what does that say about you then? I'm confused, right? So does this only apply to the men, or right? And the validation thing, again, the dudes who are at the top percentage, yeah, they can use dating apps to get validation and stuff like that, right? And if you're a dude who fits into a particular niche, I would say, you can get some validation here and there as well. But for the most part, it's really not the men who are getting validation on social media. Maybe the dudes at the top, yeah, but really all the girls are just getting the validation and crap like that. So if you're going to sit here and you're going to talk about validation junkies, perhaps you should have some introspection of your own first.
Good luck, babes. Hinge, you've already gone through the Tinder and Bumble phase, and you're ready to settle down. You're probably between the ages of 24 and 32, and have a solid career in finance, software engineering, or marketing. There's always a lot of pilots, too. Weird, right? Anyway, you're definitely the dinner date type of guy, and you probably have the most potential out of any guys on other dating apps. Match.com.
It's funny, right, when I hear her go through all of these, and like there are dudes out here who literally just play the numbers game and have profiles set up on everything, and it doesn't matter because they're not going to commit to you anyway. But notice as we go through these things, she's kind of just describing the dudes that she's been on dates with or the dudes that she's hooked up with. And despite the fact that she says, oh, this guy has potential, or these men have the most potential, notice how we're still sitting here making TikToks, and we still don't seem to have a long-term boyfriend or a husband or anything like that. But hey, I guess we're just the validation junkies, right, guys?
It's been a rough divorce, hasn't it? Bumble. I have a lot to say about this one. Fragile masculinity.
I'm just going to pause it right there because I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. You don't get to decide what is fragile and what is strong masculinity, okay? You couldn't decide where to go for dinner if you had to try, right? These girls who complain about, oh, this guy's ego is fragile and toxic masculinity and all that kind of crap. I don't know if these women realize that the instant that they say those terms, any man who respects himself doesn't want to deal with you anymore. Like you've literally, when you say words like that, you instantly put yourself into the hookup and nothing else category. You literally put yourself into the, okay, recreational use only pile for men who actually have self-respect. I don't think these girls really understand that.
You're hopeless when it comes to interacting with females, so much so that you need them to come to you. You're also probably tired of being rejected. You'll take just about anything that comes your way at this point. Let's be honest. Ashley Madison. Okay, Josh Duggar. Why not just get a divorce first? Facebook, you probably didn't even know this was a thing, right? Why in the fuck would you ever use this method of dating? You're probably not too technologically savvy, Grandpa. Lastly, we have Christian Mingle. Oh, Christ.
Okay, well, we just got kind of a recount there of this woman's terrible dating history. But what is new watching these TikToks, to be honest with you? So guys, we're going to be jumping into today's magazine article. I think the headache has been brought on quite enough from seeing some of these TikToks. So let's jump into this magazine article. Now, shout out to Strong Successful Male. I saw him cover this one recently, and I thought, what better thing to cover? What better way to continue the cringe on some of these episodes than to cover this particular magazine article? Now, here we have a magazine article that is titled The 6 Signs That You Need to Raise Your Standards, okay? Because you have a lot of women out here who they can't seem to find a husband, they can't seem to find a boyfriend or a man who's going to take them seriously. So their solution is to raise their standards. Now, of course, whenever they say raise their standards, they're not talking about raising their standards for the men that they're attracted to. They're talking about raising their standards for the dudes that they're not attracted to, right? These are the men who have to take her out on dates, who have to do 100 different tasks and jump through 50 different loops in order to get some bedroom action. Because truth be told, guys, the standards for Chad have never been lower. So we have this magazine article right here written by a woman named Melissa Alvarez, and it says that it's a 7-minute read as if these people have anything going on in their lives. And it is titled The 6 Signs That You Need to Raise Your Standards. So let's take a listen. She says, you might be pursuing people who can't handle you. So right off the bat, you're just so far from being correct, it's actually astounding. You're pursuing people who aren't interested in you, so maybe stop trying to reframe it in such an egocentric way, and you might make some more progress. Let's take a read. Miley Cyrus is incredibly famous. She's definitely not acting like she was, but I think most of us can remember how famous she was a few years back. She was mainstream. She was one of the few Disney darlings to have a successful music career while having a hit television show. I wouldn't call myself a Miley fan, but I did attend her concert years back when she was first deviated from Hannah Montana. The production on that show was undeniable. She had become an A-list celebrity. Miley was recently on the Call Her Daddy podcast. There's no way that's a real name for a podcast, man. That's disgusting. I'm not a regular listener, but I'm kind of hip to the story of how that podcast evolved. For those who don't know, this podcast became popular when it started in 2018. Then the two hosts of the show were brutally honest about their bedroom fun lives with men in a comedic way. Since then, it has matured to showcase singular host Alex Cooper, a gorgeous 27-year-old with a $60 million deal to keep the podcast going. So basically, this is just a show for single women who are degenerate. That's what you're telling me. The show interviews a lot of big names with various topics nowadays. It has an Oprah feel. It's more sophisticated, which leads me to believe that Alex has additional producers behind her with the quasi-rebrand of the show. The conversation they had was really insightful. Miley talks about going to therapy. She talks about incorporating boundaries into her life. She says that she's created a filtration system for the people in her life. If people are not additive, she cuts ties with them. Sound familiar? She vets people, and this is due to her experiences in past relationships. Now, guys, I have nothing against vetting people. In fact, I think it's a smart thing to do, whether that be in your interpersonal relation, any kind of relationship benefits from you vetting them, deciding what kind of individuals you want to surround yourself with as a matter of health, to be honest, more than anything. But these girls, first of all, they come to this conclusion after they've been with a whole bunch of dudes who don't want to commit to them. So that's the first red flag, is that girls only come to this conclusion when they have to. In other words, they're trying to turn their I forget the phrase, man. I heard it recently. Basically, they're trying to make it look as though they're virtuous when they're really not, and they're just running out of time, which is why they decide to start putting in this strategy more than anything. Second of all, they don't vet the dudes that are super attractive anyway. Like, they might raise the bar 5% and require the dude to maybe drive to her or something, which even then I'm skeptical about. But the bar is only higher for the average man. It isn't higher for the dudes who are super attractive. And even if they do try and raise the bar for the dudes who are super attractive, they're not going to see these women anymore because they're 35 and don't, have the best of attitudes or physical appearances anymore. Not to say that they had good attitudes to begin with, but you get my point. Let's continue. Miley specifically states that she feels more dominant in her relationships based on her success. She brings a lot to the table. Yeah, from whose perspective? Right? I've said this so many times, guys, but dudes do not care about your career. Your music career, your TV success, your degenerate podcast, whatever. These are all fantastic things for you, but they don't make you more appealing to men. Men don't look at you and go, oh, wow, she has a television show. She's going to make a fantastic wife. That's just not how men think. There might be one guy in the comments who's like, oh, but Taylor, I want a girl who runs a podcast. Sure. But You know, for the most part, dudes don't care about your careers, about your PhDs. These are not things that men objectively care about in terms of relationships, generally speaking. She's wealthier than the partner she's dated, therefore she feels that she takes on a more masculine role. I'm sure that's working out fantastically for her. She says that it's easier for her to have relationships with women for that reason. Men feel insecure or inadequate with her, she says. She has yet to date a man who matches her position in life. She's learned what kind of person she needs based on who she is. She needs someone who's completely secure in themselves, who has their own thing going on. I think a lot of women can relate to how Miley is feeling. A lot of us are going on a journey of self-awareness and self-discovery. Isn't it always funny how they use words like self-awareness when they themselves are the most unaware people of all time? Okay, we got an individual here sitting here talking about self-awareness when they're saying, here's what she brings a lot to the table, when they don't even know what men are objectively looking for. It's like, you're not even listening. Okay, it's disgusting. I think a lot of women can relate to how Miley is feeling. A lot of us are going on a journey of self-awareness, blah, blah, blah. I just read that garbage. So here are some of the signs. Wait, here are some of the signs of what? I've determined that my own standards are too low. So here are some of the signs. Okay. You feel dominant in your relationship. So these are signs that you should raise your standards, apparently. You feel dominant in your relationship. In my experience, I have felt this way because I was further along in life than the person I was dating. This has nothing to do with age. I've dated men who are a few years younger than me and men who are almost 10 years older. If you feel like you have more life experience or more access in life, it might be because you're not vibrating on the same frequency as your partner. What a fancy way to say his wallet isn't big enough for your ego. Right? What a polite way of saying it. You're not vibrating on the same frequency. Guys, if you're in a relationship with a girl and you want to break up with her and just use some bullcrap language, why don't you just pull a card out of this woman's deck here and say, I'm sorry, we're just not vibrating on the same frequency anymore. Just use some woo-woo language that makes absolutely no sense, because that's what these women seem to love to do. Continuing to the next point. He says, I can learn a lot from you. Of course, you want a partner you can grow and evolve with. Each person brings different things to the table. The line usually comes from someone who realizes that they bring far less to the table than you do. I think it's just that girls don't want to feel like they are above a guy, or else they're repulsed by him. That's really what it comes down to, okay? Guys, we're going to be leaving today's nauseating episode there because my brain is just about done and I need to head out of the house. Guys, don't forget to leave your comments, leave your thoughts below. Make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. The link, as always, is in the description, and we're going to be leaving it there. So make sure you take care of yourselves, gentlemen, and I will be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace. Yo, what is going on, guys? Past Taylor here. Just want to say thank you if you made it to the end of today's video. Before you head out, there's just a few announcements that I'd like to make. The first is that my editor, who goes through all of the blood, sweat, and tears of putting together content for us to endure, has started his own YouTube channel. The link will be in the video description, so make sure that you go and show him some support by going and giving him a sub. Also, we are currently looking to expand Fiendish content creation behind the scenes, so if you're interested in becoming a content creator alongside me, be sure to check out the application form at the very bottom of the video description. This is for those of you who are interested in becoming a part of the content that you see here on YouTube. So if you're interested in applying, make sure to get in quick. People who apply first will have priority for consideration. Again, the link is at the very bottom of the video description. Lastly, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, there are links to both Patreon and Locals below the video, guys. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the supporters on those two platforms. You guys allow me to make these episodes, and your support is greatly appreciated. As always, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later for real this time, guys. Peace.